Could you ever have imagined it? A 16,000 square foot palace in the UAE offered as a sanctuary. The invitation came from the Emirates' billionaire ruler of Abu Dhabi himself. He can live out his life here instead. Talk about a soft landing. Now picture this. Amid the shimmering heat of Abu Dhabi, far from the chilly disapproval of Windsor, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is quietly plotting his next chapter. Once a prince born into unparalleled privilege, he now lives as a man in exile, stripped of his royal titles, his military honors, and finally, his home. His longtime sanctuary, the Royal Lodge, is lost to him. But waiting across the sea is an opulent refuge, a palace worthy of a sultan. Tucked behind immense hedges and heavily guarded gates, it's a place where the disgraced former duke can simply vanish from Britain's view. His fall from grace has been nothing short of staggering. Once a naval officer hailed for his service in the Falklands, his name is now synonymous with scandal, entitlement, and shame. The headlines tell the story, with the Sun proclaiming, "Banned old Duke, Duke of York." After years of shielding him, even his own brother, King Charles, reached a breaking point. In a swift and definitive move, the king revoked his titles and his right to be called His Royal Highness. It was the final, decisive stroke in a long, painful unraveling, the official end of Andrew's life as a royal. What comes next? Royal watchers are calling it an internal exile. He has agreed to spend the winter in a modest home on the Sandringham estate, but few expect him to remain. Insiders suggest his gaze is fixed on something far grander. That 16,000 square foot palace in Abu Dhabi, a personal offer from one of the world's most powerful men, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, known as MBZ. Their bond spans over 20 years, back to Andrew's days as a UK trade envoy. He was a frequent visitor to the Emirates, cultivating ties with the wealthy elite and basking in their extravagant hospitality. A relationship that once yielded influence may now provide his escape from public disgrace. But one must wonder, does this not leave the country and the monarchy vulnerable to potential bribery and coercion? Sending Handy Andy off to mingle with oligarchs on the yachts of Abu Dhabi, what could possibly go wrong? Reports indicate MBZ has offered Andrew a place within his heavily fortified Sea Palace compound, a world where discretion and luxury are paramount. The palace itself is breathtaking. Valued at an estimated £10 million, it overlooks the turquoise waters of the Arabian Gulf, nestled within a secure estate that also houses the Emirati Navy headquarters. Behind 30-foot walls and a series of checkpoints, the compound is reserved for the ruling family and top officials. Access requires a government pass. Guards man every entrance. Cameras track every movement. An insider described it as effectively invisible to the outside world. For a man desperate to disappear, it's the ideal hideaway. Inside, the villa is the stuff of fantasy. 6 sprawling, air-conditioned bedrooms with ensuite marble bathrooms, a home cinema, an indoor pool, and a private gym that rivals a 5-star resort. The kitchen, staffed by cordon bleu chefs, is adorned with gold fixtures from the taps to the light switches. Every detail gleams with a quiet, undeniable grandeur. One designer involved called the aesthetic classical yet playful, a modern take on palatial opulence. Andrew's ties to Abu Dhabi are more than just convenient. The Emirates' firm control over its press means powerful figures are rarely criticized, a fact that biographer Andrew Lowney notes is deeply appealing to the former Duke. In the UK, he is pursued by paparazzi and pilloried in the press. In Abu Dhabi, he would find what he longs for: privacy, respect, and silence. He would be happy living somewhere where the media is muzzled, Lowney has observed. He'll still be treated as a senior royal and can easily live under the radar. The temptation is understandable. His reputation in Britain is in ruins. His attempts at redemption have backfired spectacularly. His televised interview, intended to salvage his name, only painted him as arrogant and detached. For years, he hid behind palace walls, becoming a symbol of unaccountable privilege. Even his subdued move to Sandringham is seen not as humility, but as surrender. Yet, through it all, he has held on to one asset: his powerful connections. MBZ's offer of a palace isn't just a kind gesture. It's a lifeline from one powerful man to a fallen comrade. Sources suggest the villa's refurbishment began shortly after Queen Elizabeth's death, a quiet signal of a long-standing bond. In fact, Andrew and MBZ first met as students at Scotland's Gordonstoun School. A schoolboy acquaintance that grew into a diplomatic friendship may now become Andrew's sole refuge. This isn't the first hint of his links to Abu Dhabi's elite. He has been seen at exclusive events over the years, often with his daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie. Both women have spent time in the region, attending conferences and social gatherings. Just days after their father lost his titles, they were photographed in Saudi Arabia and later at an event in Abu Dhabi. Insiders believe the sisters may be testing the terrain, perhaps preparing for their father's relocation. It's a path similar to that of Spain's former king Juan Carlos, who escaped to Abu Dhabi in 2020 amid his own financial scandals. Andrew, too, may find comfort among those who have traded power for privacy. For the UAE's rulers, hosting a fallen royal is a display of prestige, a sign of global influence and the power to grant sanctuary. For Andrew, this gilded isolation could be perfection. No press, no British chill, no cameras at the gate, just the whisper of air conditioning, the sheen of marble, and a world where uncomfortable questions are never asked. Here, his past can recede into silence. But for the monarchy he leaves behind, the scars remain. His exile may bring him peace, but it does nothing to restore the dignity his actions cost the family. And what of Sarah Ferguson? With her ex-husband departing and her own media opportunities fading, she faces an uncertain future. Those close to her say she is restless, considering her own departure from the UK. For years, she shared the royal lodge with Andrew despite their divorce, holding on to the frayed edges of a privileged life. That chapter is now closed. The social invitations have dwindled. Her reputation remains tangled in Andrew's shadow. A friend confided to the press, "Aside from her children and grandchildren, there's not a lot to keep her here." It's a telling statement. With her daughters increasingly abroad and the monarchy closing ranks, Sarah may well choose to follow the same path, slipping away from Britain's glare to start anew. The former Duchess has always said she believes in second chances. Perhaps she is ready to claim hers, far from Windsor, where the echoes of scandal can finally fall silent. As for Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, his final act is being written, not as a prince, nor a public servant, but as a man residing behind gilded gates in a foreign land. His new life may be draped in gold, but it is a lonely freedom, purchased with his name, his legacy, and the respect of the crown. Britain will carry on without him, and in the deserts of Abu Dhabi, surrounded by marble and silence, the fallen son of the late queen will have all the privacy he ever desired, and none of the honor he once held. But what do you think? Has Andrew secured the ultimate escape, or is this merely another act in a lifetime of privilege and avoidance? Is the monarchy stronger without his presence, or does his quiet exile prompt tougher questions about accountability? And what about Sarah? Will she build a new life abroad, or finally carve a path entirely her own? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If you found this dive into the royal saga compelling and want to stay on top of every new twist, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Join our community here at Empire Exposed TV. There is so much more to discuss.